beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a marvelous feeling that on this first Sunday when time goes back, everything, especially sleep, is going your way. Welcome to the Voice of Hope Connection. I'm your host, D. Foster III, CEO and President of Wake Up Global Networks International. Happy first Sunday in November. Come on in. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, follow. There is a word for us to make it through the week. I want to say thank you so much for all of your support. Have you watched our The Voice Over Now podcast on Friday? Ooh. All I got to say is when you get a chance, I know it's Sunday. I know you're probably going to church. I know you're probably going to brunch. I know you're probably going, no, you don't need no more sleep. You got an extra hour. But whenever you get a chance, go watch Friday's upload. That's just part number one. But whatever you do, and yes, you can find it right here on WPB Media. Shout out to April J. I want to say thank you for giving us a platform to voice the voice that God has given us to speak into this time and speak into the universe. I want to say thank you for all of your support. I want to hear from you, y'all. The Voice Over the Globe at gmail.com. The Voice Over the Globe at gmail.com. Or follow us on social media. It is Wake Up Global Networks on Facebook, WGNINC on X, and Wake Up Global Media on Instagram. I hope I am so excited. You know, this is in a very exciting time of year. The elections are this week. So many things are happening, but hey, God got us, and I got a word. Make sure you like, you subscribe, support the channel. It helps. If you love positive content, this is the channel, WPB Media, that you should attend to. Listen, I was reading something that got my attention the other day, and I wanted to share it with you. Because we know as human beings, conflicts arise. We know tensions between us and others, that's just life. They arise. They will arise. They have always arisen, and they will continue to arise between human beings. Because number one, we are all different. And number two, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but there are principalities controlling things. Well, this is nothing new. I was reading the other day in the book of Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, 20th chapter, and tensions arose against the people of God. Jehoshaphat was leading an army, and there were enemies, always enemies. People who don't think you're going to have enemies are just very delusional. There's always going to be, let me help somebody, people who don't like you for no reason or for a reason. But that's something that you, for the most part, cannot control, especially if it's for no reason. Some people, it's them. It's not even you, it's them. But anyway, these enemies arose. Enemies will arise, but enemies are scattered. But that's okay, I'm gonna get to that part. And so Jehoshaphat arise, and of course, these enemies seem to be bigger than him. Yes, sometimes our enemies, whether it's natural enemies, spiritual enemies, bill enemies, financial enemies, health enemies, seem to be bigger than us. Hello, I said seem. I did not say they were. And so he arises and he says, listen, we got to hear from God. I don't know what to do. He says, we're going to declare fast and we're going to set our face. Back then, God wasn't in them, so they had to look for God in certain directions. In the north, towards Jerusalem. He said, we're going to set our face towards Jerusalem and hear from God. He said, because I don't know, this thing is big. And this week you may face some big stuff, but I want you to know it ain't bigger than the God in you. And so finally, without going through the whole thing, you can read it, 2 Chronicles 20. They were going out and God spoke. God spoke. I love it when God speaks, when I hear God. And God said, wait a minute, chill out. And this is the word I'm going to give you. He said, chill out. I'm speaking to somebody this morning. Chill out. It's almost the end of the year. Chill out. He says, chill out. Take chill pill. Get on ice. Come on. Put them on the glacier. Get on the glacier. He says, listen, you don't need to fight in this. Oh, God. I'm speaking to somebody this morning because we always feel like we need to respond. And sometimes fighting is simply not fighting, but it is a response. It's the battle of the words. You gotta have the last word. But God told me to tell you, you don't need to fight in every battle. He says, wait a minute, you don't need to fight this battle. This battle ain't yours. This battle ain't yours. It's God's. This is what the prophet arose and told Jehoshaphat to tell the army. This battle ain't yours. It's God. I'm speaking into your life. And so he says, now watch this. He said, all you got to do is show up. That's God. Did you like this? Did you share this? Did you follow this? All you got to do is show up and watch God work. I just said a word. Show up. Yeah, you gotta show up. You can't run. You can't hide. You can't duck. The power is in showing up. He says, all you gotta do is show up. He said, now go down to the wilderness. He said, of the Kia. He said, but you ain't gotta do nothing. And this battle, it is not yours. It is the Lord's. God will fight for you. I want to give you that word this week. So what they do, they show up, they don't duck. They say, oh yeah, be of good courage, because it's going to look insurmountable. Be of good courage. Don't be dismayed. In other words, don't be depressed. Don't back down. Don't feel like you outnumber. Show up. The words he gave Joshua, be strong and of good courage. Courage means have heart, have bravery like David. Show up ready to slay. You know, they got these sayings that I'm awake and slay. I'm awake, so I'm a slay. Well, you got to literally do that sometimes in life. You got to awaken and be ready to slay. And slay means I'm showing up so that God can work. So real quick, and I'm giving a word to somebody this week, because you just gonna have to show up. And they go down to the wilderness. And when they appear, the prophet says, listen, if y'all troops believe the Lord your God, you shall be established. But believe the prophet Jehoshaphat, when he speaks what to do, you shall prosper in this. So they follow the prophet, because the prophet follows the voice of God, and they show up. And when they show up, come on somebody, when they show up, Bible says, and the enemy, and the conflict that was against them begins to divert. It begins to reverse. It begins to be interrupted. In other words, God set an ambush in another direction, and they thought that their enemies, God's people, were over there, and they ran in the wrong direction, and they turned against one another. And guess what? Israel, God's people, won another battle. That's all I came to talk to you about today. Sometimes it ain't about having a last word. Sometimes it ain't about confrontation. Sometimes it's about just showing up and watch God fight you. Watch God confuse the enemy. Watch God confound the enemy because you show up. So what's the word? What's the word? I just want to give you a word this week. Just show up, and you don't need to fight in this. That's what he told him. You don't have a need to fight this battle. Stop taking on battles that ain't yours. You wasting time. You wasting energy. You wasting effort. God will tell you when you need to fight, when you need to put a strategy in place. But for now, this week, show up and watch the Lord fight your battle. Watch your enemy get confused. Psalm 35 says, they strive with me without a cause. Fight against them that fight against me. Make their way slippery, oh God. All you got to do is have heart and faith and show up, and God will fight. God will fight for you. I'm a witness. I ain't telling you something I just read. I am a witness. God will fight for you. Listen, I want you to like this, share this, subscribe to the channel. I want you to go and watch the Voice Over Now podcast from Friday upload, each and every Friday, and a live upload at 6 p.m. Listen, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I pray that you have a wonderful week. And when those contentions come, don't feel like you need to fight. Don't feel like you need to have the last word. Don't feel like you need to make your point always. Sometimes you will, but not always. Sometimes you just got to show up, because the battle is not yours. The battle is the Lord's. And watch him confound your enemies. Until next week, this is D. Foster 3 says, there is hope. Let's stay connected to it. Peace.